If you've been on the internet for any length of time, you've probably heard correlation does not equal causation, because it's a common thing to say when people are throwing things out on the internet. It's a common source of argument, but maybe you don't know what it actually means. If two things are correlated, it means they are related to each other. And when one goes up, the other one tends to go up. When one goes down, the other one tends to go down. To start with, you could simply have a spurious correlation. You could simply have the case where these two things appear to be moving together, but they actually aren't. We talked about this in the Texas Sharpshooter fallacy. If you look at enough data in enough different ways, you can find spurious correlations all over the place. In fact, there's a website dedicated to that, which is kind of funny if you want to spend some time and look at a bunch of spurious correlation, like deaths by drowning compared to Nicolas Cage movies. But let's assume that your two variables are actually correlated, that it's not a spurious correlation, that these two numbers appear to be moving in concert, or inversely correlated, they're moving in opposite directions. What are the possibilities in this case? First of all, you could have a third variable, a C variable, which is actually the cause. If you are measuring two variables, level of water in your city's reservoir and the speed at which grass is growing, those are correlated, but they are not caused by each other. They're caused by another variable, the level of rainfall in the city. Maybe these two things are correlated due to another variable that you are not considering. Secondly, one could be causing the other. If you are measuring rainfall and level of water in your city's reservoir, the rainfall, at least partially, is causing the level of the water in the reservoir because there's more water around to go in there. If you are drawing the conclusion that the level of water in your reservoir is causing rainfall, then you are inverting your causation. The final thing that could be happening is that the two variables could be causing each other. One of the things floating around is whether or not social media causes depression. And none of the studies that I've looked at least seem to actually confirm a causal relationship because it's very difficult to do. But there is a correlation. You could see this being one of four things. Maybe depression and use of social media are unrelated to each other, and this is a spurious correlation, and they're moving together by coincidence. Seems unlikely, but it's possible. One of the reasons you gather a lot of data is to try to discount that possibility, to reduce the possibility that it is simply a spurious correlation. Let's assume the data is valid and they are actually correlated to each other. So how could they be correlated to each other? Well, the breathless headline says social media use causes depression. That could be true, and it's difficult to rule this out. The opposite could also be true. People who are depressed may be more likely to use social media. And finally, you could have the causation going both directions. People who are depressed are more likely to use social media, which makes them more depressed. The problem is when you are doing studies that are based upon just large, broad data gathering sources of information, it's very difficult to isolate the data in such a way to prove a causal relationship. If you are setting up a physics experiment or a chemistry experiment, it's a lot easier to make sure that A causes B, causes C, causes D. But when your source of data is the general public, it's a lot more difficult to do that. It's hard to force people into very controlled situations that allows you to prove causation. And often it's actually not possible to actually prove causation. You can suppose causation, but it can be very difficult to actually prove causation. This is the world that we live in a lot of the data-driven conclusions we are making in video game development. We have this correlation of the way that people play combat and the amount of treasure they pick up. And we don't actually know the causal relationship. And for our next game, we are going to potentially draw a conclusion based upon what we suppose to be true and hope we are right and hope we are drawing the right conclusion. This is, again, one place where live services have a big advantage when it comes to data. Because what a live service can do is say, okay, we believe that playing combat in this way causes you to pick up more treasure. So let's make people play combat this way more so they pick up more treasure. Oh, we did that. they didn't pick up more treasure. Oh, okay, actually, maybe that wasn't the causal relationship. Maybe the causal relationship was the other way around. Let's try giving out more treasure to see if people change the way they play combat. Oh, it turns out, yes, that's the causal relationship. Or maybe yet again, nope, there's no causal relationship there either. Maybe these things are correlated, but there's a third variable that we're not thinking of yet. Let's go find that. When you are in a live service, you are able to do these micro tests where you change something, maybe by a very small amount, and see the actual causal effect it has on your player base. Whereas when you are doing large, longer development cycle titles, you're having to make a lot more guesses. You're having to make an assumption about the causal relationship, change the way you do things, and hope you are right. In the case of live services, you can draw some pretty wacky conclusions because you have the ability to test them pretty quickly. Whereas in the case of box product, in the case of full launches, you have to be really careful. If you draw a really wacky conclusion and do something aggressive based upon what might be a causal relationship, and then it turns out to not be that, what you can end up doing is actually turning your audience off because you've tried to cause something to happen, but that relationship didn't actually exist in the way you thought it did, and you've actually made things worse. And now you end up in a situation where you've released a game with a major change based upon what you thought you were seeing in the data, but it's not truly there. One of the sillier correlation, non-equal causation things that I've experienced was the pre-orders on Dragon Age 2. At the time, during the marketing of Dragon Age 2, EA had noticed a strong correlation between number of pre-orders and total sales of the game. It makes sense for a bunch of different reasons. If you have a lot of pre-orders, that's usually an indication of hype. If you have a lot of hype, you probably sell better. It makes sense that these are fairly tightly correlated. And you can kind of talk yourself into it being at least partially causal. If you have a lot of pre-orders, then the retail stores see that because most of the pre-orders, at the time at least, were happening through the retail stores. They see a game getting lots of pre-orders, they think, oh, okay, this is a game with a lot of buzz, so therefore we should put more effort behind this. Maybe we'll do a window display. Maybe we will put an end cap up with a bunch of copies of the box to try to encourage additional sales, both for pre-orders and for day one purchase. So you can see that there might be at least a small causal relationship between pre-order numbers and final sales, or at least larger numbers of pre-orders might be able to increase the total number of sales to some degree. The problem that happened on Dragon Age 2 was because of this correlation, a lot of effort was put into juice the pre-order numbers, make the pre-order numbers as large as possible. And what happened very quickly is that correlation basically just broke apart. If you jam the channel with a ton of pre-orders, all those little small bits of causation that were there can start to break. If it's clear to the retail store that the only reason you have a large number of pre-orders is because you're giving away this extra free stuff, then they're not going to get excited because you have large numbers of pre-orders, and they're not going to do a window display, and they're not going to encourage people to pre-order more because they know you're playing with the numbers. So something that might have had a small causal effect quickly has no effect at all. So why does this happen on Dragon Age 2? Well, at the time, pre-order numbers were used as a metric to determine how much marketing a game was going to get. So if you had more pre-orders, you got more marketing money. And if you want a causal relationship, marketing spend has a fairly strong effect on your final sales of a game. So if you can get more marketing dollars, you will sell more copies, strengthening that correlation. So if you can juice your pre-order numbers, the idea was you get more marketing money and therefore you would get more sales. But EA as well, smart enough to know that that was happening, DA2 didn't really get more marketing money, so it didn't actually do anything. When you have two variables that are correlated to each other, you can use this as a way to predict what the second number is going to be based on the first. But once you start tying other behaviors to that first number, you can very quickly break that correlation, because what's going to happen is that first number is going to be artificially played with in order to trigger the other things that are triggered by that number. If you have a correlation between pre-order numbers and sales, but now the pre-order number starts being played with, that correlation goes away. You lose your measurement very quickly. So you have to be very careful about tying things to a metric that is correlated to another if that number can be changed in artificial ways, because you can actually cause that correlation to disappear and you lose your metric, which could be a useful metric that you were using for other purposes. This fallacy is probably the one that's most commonly known on the internet, but we all get caught up in it. It's very easy for us to see cause when all we have is correlation. And when we are using this data to make decisions about how our players interact with our game, we have to be careful that if we are wrong, that we are able to recover from being wrong. If we have a very long iteration loop, it's hard for us to take big swings because we can't take those swings back if we're very wrong about what we think is happening. A special thanks to my members. They provide the resources that this channel needs to keep running. If you're interested in becoming a member, there's a link to that down in the description. We also have a Patreon now if you're more comfortable with that to support the channel. There's a link to that in the description as well. We have merch. This is the High T and the High C's hoodie. This will be tagged in the video if you want to pick something up to support the channel that way. What are some fallacies and biases you'd like me to tackle next? Put those down in the comments and I'll put them on the list. I will see you again soon. Thank you.